Hey yo, it's your boy Post. You now tuned in to Hood Action News. This is just gonna be an event show. Just gonna be an event show. So just as an update, if you seen my live the other day, you know that I did a live maybe the other day or last week saying that Philly is trash, right? So Philadelphia has been have we had problems with the mayor, trash, trash piling up sky high. Everybody had to put trash in their car, take it to certain sites. So now the strike is over. So they reached an agreement between the unions and the mayor. The union leader wasn't, they definitely weren't totally satisfied with the outcome of it, but they did get 9%. So they got a 9% increase. So now we can get our trash taken care of pretty much, yo. I mean, just plain and simple. You know, like I said, I got my nephew works for the city, right? So he's gonna come to me and say, like, yo, he didn't matter of fact, he didn't really say much about it, but it's my nephew. I know it was affecting him. Now he gets to go back to work with a raise. So I'm glad we got that taken care of. Now, the violence in Philly, I'm not really gonna show you the violence in Philly because I'm pretty sure you've seen all the viral videos of shootouts and stuff like that. But the one thing I can say is 100% for sure, this is why I stayed my ass in the house, right? I'm an older dude, right? What's the word for it? They say I'm a man that is of age. You can say I'm a man that is of age, right? So I'm a man that is I'm of age, right? So I definitely don't party and go out with the young people. You won't catch me at a bar with people in their 20s and stuff like that. That's not going to happen, right? Now, the one thing I can say is that um I don't suggest you to do this, but this is what I do. In the summertime, I don't go out nowhere. I stay in the house in the air condition in the summertime. I do go out to parks and maybe like go running or or go shoot around at at like basketball courts and stuff like that. I might go, you got to get some exercise somewhere. I definitely got to lose a couple more pounds. Everybody, always needs to lose pounds. But I shoot basketball and and do stuff like that. Sometimes I hit the heavy bag, but other than that, I go out in Philly in the wintertime. So if I go out to a restaurant or a little nice little spot, I do that in the wintertime in Philly because I feel like the juveniles and all the younger people are they either in the house in the wintertime or in school. You know what I'm saying? Especially like the kids under 18 committing crimes, their ass is in school busy during when school starts during the wintertime. In the summertime, sometimes I think these kids got too much time on their hands. Um in in the summertime, they got too much time on their hands. I remember back in the day, we used to have fill a job. It was like fill a job. I think you had to be 12 years old and you can get a job and get paid. It's either 12 or 14 years old, right? We had summer camps. If your mom sent you to daycare, it would be like daycare for kids like 12 years old. Either like your daycare would have stuff for you to do. They might take you to different little stuff, parks and stuff like that. But I feel that because of technology and phones, that is less resources for kids right now. and not just in Philly, a lot of different places. Um, Now I do have a friend, a couple people I know they live in like Charlotte. It seems like Charlotte has a lot of. Now I'm not saying just Charlotte, but I know like I'm just I'm just comparing apples to apples, like Charlotte versus like Philadelphia. Um, it's a lot of recreation for boys in Charlotte, probably more than Philadelphia. Um, Different things like that. School facilities are probably a little bit better. Tutoring programs. It probably needs to be more tutoring programs, all type of stuff. But now, far as like the shootings going on nationwide, yo, if you don't, I'm gonna give you a window, right? Because I seen a lot. It's a lot of shootings happening. Philly, Chicago, Indiana, right? I've been seeing a lot of. It's been a lot of shootings going on. Philly, Chicago, Indiana, right? Um, I feel like the shootings in that are going on everywhere. Um, a solution to the problem. I feel like if somebody is 20 years old and they're going around shooting up stuff, I think it's too late at like 20 to 18 to 20 is probably too late, right? I feel like you gotta nip that in the bud when a kid is probably between listen, but one probably between 1 and 10, you gotta get that kid in order between 1 and 10. A boy, girls, I have no idea, but boys, obviously I'm a man, right? I'm gonna say between 1 and 10, you gotta nip that in the bud. Like you gotta get them in tutoring, disciplinary action. You gotta nip that in the bud between one. I'm gonna say shit when they 0 and 10 when they're born. Um, you can't over spoil. I don't think you can over spoil your kid, but I'm gonna say between all of this violence going on, you can't say what you can't say I'm gonna correct it later. You got to be correcting that between 1 and 10 because by 12, these kids are going around robbing people. They got the mask on, they walk around with the mask on. And it's not just the Philly problem. This is a problem that I see nationwide. This is a problem that I see every single state. Like we can say Milwaukee, Chicago, Philly, Atlanta, Florida, Los Angeles. Like it seems like to be a United States problem. I'm gonna say between 1 and 10. With boys, you gotta nip this. You gotta nip. Even with girls, but girls is different nuances with girls. You gotta find out who their friends are, influences, and this is with boys as well. But with men, we commit most of the crimes. We're definitely diabolical.com out here. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna say between 1 and 10. Now, some of the problems between 1 and 10, kids may be getting physically and mentally abused, right? Verbal abuse, right? Even if a kid is never physically abused, it may be like verbal abuse. But I really believe between 1 and 10, that problem needs to be corrected with all this crime going on between like 1 and 10. Because this problem, the problem that I see in Philadelphia is I don't even see the kids going to play basketball anymore, and this is influencing the kids. So this right here is what's influencing the kids. You know what I mean? And I don't even know. I can't even begin to tell you what a lot of these dudes are shooting over. I mean, you could say girls is a drug territory. Um, but I really think this right here is what's causing all of the problems, right? Now, as much as you don't want to admit this, I really think the music is causing a lot of the problems too, right? Is the devil the angel of music? You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna repeat that again. Is the devil the angel of music? Leave a comment below. Is the devil the angel of music? I really think that now I do music and I have been involved in music. Some music I stopped doing because it started get everything started getting too demonic. You know what I mean? Even I could look at my own music and I'm like, yo, I ain't really feeling that frequency no more. You know what I'm saying? And especially rap. When you grow up being a rapper, that some of the frequency, and some of my music, um, I I just can't get on that frequency no more. You know what I mean? And whether it's like melodic music or like singing or rapping is what I'm trying to say. Like the topics, you gotta watch the top, you gotta watch the energy you put out there. You know what I mean? Now, if we want to go into some spiritual type stuff, how you say you talk stuff into existence. Well, I do believe you can sing stuff into existence too. So I do believe now I this is just coming from me. I far as like music is concerned. So I do believe that I do believe that you can literally sing stuff into existence. Let me go in here and take this out. All right, there we go. So I do believe that you can sing, so as far as music or rap, I do believe that you can sing stuff and rap stuff into existence. I listen, if I had a personal talk with you, person to person, I would tell you a couple things that I have put in my songs and like, yo, I was like, I could not sing about that no more. Let's just say that. You know what I mean? Now I'm not even talking about drill. I'm not talking about drill rap. Drill rap is probably the biggest. It's like drill rap is probably the biggest example of what I'm talking about. But it's other topics too, man. I think when you rapping that stuff and you singing that stuff, if it's not like teachable rap, like I did this so you won't have to go through that. I used to do this, something like that. But if you currently saying what you gonna do and all this and that, some of that stuff is gonna come true. Whether somebody gonna try you, just the I hate getting all spiritual, but I really believe like the universe is listening to what you say. You got to be careful what you say, even when you talk in regular time. But if you singing a melody and stuff like that, yo, you really got to be careful about what you. Now it sounds so simple and cliche, but you got to be careful what you put in the universe, like 1000%. If you doing music, you gotta really like you gotta be careful what you putting out there. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I want to say. But that's for the artists. Think about the people who are not artists and they just singing this frequency. They're damn near possessed by the music. So a lot of this stuff going on is people being possessed by music influence is just purely the devil. And then your mindset the music changes your mindset mentally. So the frequency of music that you listening to is mentally, that frequency is mentally changing your mindset, and you're going to act this stuff out, yo. Like, and that's what's happening. You're going to act this stuff out at any cost. And I believe, like, I don't know if you want to call it spiritually, um, things that we cannot see. I mean, it's the devil, but just if you know, some of y'all don't believe in the devil, but you follow him. You know what I'm saying? But even if you don't see him, even if you don't see what's happening, it's happening. Cause y'all, where's your mentality coming from? You know what I'm saying? Why do you want to crash out? A lot of y'all want to crash out. You know what I mean? And because it makes you feel better. But when you try to talk, a lot of y'all want to crash out and just do brute stuff, but you can't even handle a conversation. You know what I mean? So imagine you could crash out and you could do all this brute stuff, but you can't even handle conversations. You know what I mean? So that's a lot of y'all. But I do think the violence that's happening all around the country is 1000% influence on the music. Now you could blame it on single mothers and stuff like that, but ultimately they're affected by the music too because they're listening to the music, and you having babies with the same frequency. It's just a pass of frequencies and hypnotism. So I think is music. So a lot of this stuff is probably, I'm gonna call it music hypnosis. So a lot of these problems is music hypnosis, right? It's violence in the it's violence in the music. The music is literally hypnotizing people to do violence. That's what I'm saying. I mean, it's like evidence, especially in drill rap. You really see it. Um, but I do believe that the music is hypnotizing people to do this. Now, when I say people, let's keep it a buck. The black community. So the music out here is 1000% hypnotizing the black community to do these violent acts of crime and and everything else that's under that umbrella. So the music, rap, pop, whatever you want to call it, is hypnosis for especially for the black community. Is literally hypnosis into doing these things. And I think the younger that people are, the fast put it like this, undeveloped brains could be hypnotized even easier and persuaded. Now, I'm gonna give you another example. Anytime, you got rappers, I don't want to give these rappers advertisement, but you got some of these rappers out here that are basically telling you, now it's a couple female rappers, right? They're basically saying it's okay to have an STD, right? So now you starting to see people on TikTok saying, "Oh yeah, it's okay to have an STD." Like, just sit and think about that. Rap music and just music in general. It's not I'm it's not just rap. It's just bad topics in any type of music is hypnosis. So any negative topic or shit you're not supposed to be doing is literally hypnosis to any genre of music. It could be rock, it could be rock telling people to jump off a bridge or whatever, or do drugs. It could be the weekend song where he talking about he wanna he basically wanna self delete and stuff like that. Um in some of the weekend songs, music in general, not just rap, not just hip hop, music in general is hypnosis for negative things to like manifest and happen in your life. And that's why a lot of music I stopped doing, because I'm like, yo, this I gotta kind of do some music that's kind of a little bit more positive. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I think is happening with all this crime going around. Now, listen, make sure you like, share, subscribe. I just wanted to vent a little bit about what's going on with the violence. You see the violence happening. You know, I don't have to show you pictures. We're going to obviously we're going to be showing stuff, but that's what it is, man. Listen, make sure you like, share, subscribe. This is your boy, Poster Mogul. And this is hoodactionnews.com. This is not a one-off topic. Um, but I think this is what's really causing the violence out here. Now, if you have any this is what I want to know from you, the audience. I want to know, what do you think is the root of the violence out here? Right now I really think it's the musical influence. And then you could say gang, you could say culture, but I really think it's like the music influence and culture mix. But some of these like some places don't even have gangs, and these kids are doing the same thing. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like I'm in Philly. We got like people that gang up, but it ain't no like hardcore gangs that have been around for years and nothing like that in Philly, like Bloods, Crips. You know, it ain't nothing like solid. You know, they try to push that they try to push the Bloods and all that, but it's not like other places, you know. It's not like LA or Chicago or you know, the GDs down south and all that. Like, it ain't really hardcore like that. Now, leave a comment below. Also, when I hop on lives, I want you to chime in on the chat. I want y'all to weigh in. A lot of people want to watch, but they don't want to weigh in. I need your help. I need you to weigh in on these topics that I'm talking about. I want to know what you think. I'm not gonna criticize your thoughts. You know, we'll break everything down. But listen, like I said, tune in, like, share, subscribe, support the channel. And also, when I do these lives, like if you're watching this now, when I do these lives, I want you to chime in. The link is going to be in the description, and then we could get it popping. It's your boy Post, hoodactionnews.com. I'm Izzo.